So people in the wonderful world of social media and Facebook and all that great stuff often talk about how homosexuality and being trans and the entire LGBTQ community is such a new idea. It's not. January 27th is Holocaust Remembrance Day. You might be thinking that's kind of a strange way to start an LGBTQ video. There's some things in our LGBTQ history that have almost gotten erased. A lot of Americans and people around the world actually don't know that there were gay people in the Holocaust. An estimated 10 to 15,000 gay men were kept as prisoners in concentration camps in Nazi Germany. That's such an incredible statistic that it's strange that it's not taught in school. There's actually something really interesting about gay history before that. In the 1920s, Berlin had a flourishing LGBTQ community. In the 1920s. That sounds so unreal. But they had over 100 gay bars there, and organizations and hangouts and places where people could be LGBT. It was still criminalized, but there were these hangouts and places where people could congregate. But all those bars and organizations became banned once the Nazis came into power. So there's less than 10 known gay men that survived the concentration camps after the war. There could have been more, but so many men did not speak out about their homosexuality, and often these prisoners were jailed multiple times after the concentration camps. And one of the biggest failures of civilians, the government, and pretty much everyone after the war, gays were never recognized as victims of the Holocaust. They were ignored in memorials and museums, and they never received any kind of compensation like other victims had. Not from government, not from researchers, not even from their own community. And that's why so much gay history is not even recognized. You know, so much of it is forgotten or overlooked or ignored because there's not a lot of record of it. That's why it seems so new now. Nobody was ever taught about homosexuality in schools and stuff. I think we're so long overdue not speaking about this and not educating people. And most importantly, not educating ourselves. Just in the last, I don't know, maybe like 5 years of my life, I've really been diving into LGBTQ history and trying to learn as much as I can because nobody else will teach me. Mostly because nobody else knows it. I know a lot of LGBTQ people are not interested in that kind of stuff. You know, they like going to the bars, they like the drag queens, they like the fun stuff, rather than looking at the history and where those came from. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't mean this in a bad way at all. So many people have fought so that my generation, the next generation, can take things for granted. I would love for the next generation to take gay bars for granted, to take gay marriage for granted. You know, there's a generation that doesn't even know that gay marriage didn't exist at one point. We're fighting for the next generations to be born with these rights, to just have these laws in their favor and to protect them. It's a good thing that they take things for granted. That sounds weird, but in the context, that's what we want for them. I think the trade-off, though, is that we want them to know the history. We want the next generation to take things for granted, but also to learn about why they can take things for granted. For Holocaust Remembrance Day, I want to show my respect to those lives that were lost before us, that have allowed us to get to where we are today. Karl Gorath was a gay Holocaust survivor, and he fought the courts to be recognized as such, but the courts denied him. to be brave enough as a gay person at the time to go to the courts demanding to be recognized as a homosexual, that takes a courage that we cannot even imagine today. Finally, after 50 years, Karl Gorath is recognized in the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in DC. It's a small justice that was made, but a significant one. It is so important to remember where we came from, because so many people throughout history do not want us to. So today we remember the Holocaust survivors, and especially the men with the pink triangles, and pray to God that something like that never happens again.